All right, welcome to this week's episode of the CY Sideline Podcast. We got a special guest, Centreville football coach, Coach John Shields, joining us today to talk a little bit about Centreville's football team. Big matchup coming up this week at Westfield. I'm going to turn it over to Scott. Go ahead, lead us off.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, John.
Yeah, I'm excited. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, I feel like we've known each other for a while with our kids and stuff.
We have, absolutely.
Two kids were good friends growing up. And his oldest, Jack, and my middle one, Jack, been good friends growing up, playing a lot of sports together. Appreciate you having you on. Tell us a little bit about your background, man. You've been involved with football for a long time, both in the high school ranks, college ranks, and playing as a youth. Give us kind of a quick rundown.
Yeah, believe it or not, this is my 32nd year, 20th in high school. I spent my first job out of Virginia Tech was at Oakton in 95, and then got an opportunity to work in the CFL. The team collapsed in Baltimore, went to Montreal, so I got to live and work with those guys, and then got an opportunity to go back to Virginia Tech as a graduate assistant and started a college run until 2006, and then actually Pete Bendorf was at South County at that time, and I had two boys. I now have three, and it was just like a decision to make, and got in my first opportunity. Dale Rumberger, Bob McKegg, all those guys gave me an opportunity, and Pete Bendorf gave me an opportunity at South County, and been in Fairfax County. And that's, like I said, my 20th year.
So. 20 years in Fairfax County. So, is that how you got into teaching?
Pretty much.
Teaching as well, right?
Yeah, so and you being a Hokie, and that type of stuff. I didn't quite make it through the Pamplin School of Business, so couldn't pass accounting. And so I got into the School of Education and got a sports management degree. And, with that, it helped, and it got into the sports side of things and coaching and that type of stuff. But I just never finished my teaching part of it. And so then when I got to South County, I passed the test that you need to, the practice, all that stuff anyway. And just got an opportunity to teach there. And like I said, Coach Bendorf and all those guys helped me get into the county. That's awesome. How it started here.
Yeah, Pete's been around a long time. I remember a conversation we had, gosh, it's got to be 10, 15 years ago at one of our kids' sporting events. And you looked at me and you told me, I remember I was like, none of my kids are ever going to be playing college sports. They're just not good enough. Well, I guess they proved you wrong.
Yeah, I mean,
you have three kids that eventually will be playing. Two of them now, and one they're going to be playing, high-end college football. It's impressive. Good job.
Well, I appreciate that. I mean, you don't know at a young age. Everybody can kind of look pretty good or look bad. I don't know. And yeah, they've done a great job. They work extremely hard. All three of them do. So yeah, I'm proud of them. They've done a good job.
Before we get to the coaching thing, we were talking about this off air a little bit. It's got to be a schedule. It's tough scheduling your life on a weekend when you have three kids playing football. Yeah. You got your youngest Will. He's a quarterback right now for Centreville. You got Luke. He's down in Tennessee playing football. Right. And you got Jack, and he's up in New York. Man, that's a maze of scheduling for you guys, you and your wife Meredith on the weekend. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so it's kind of, we try to divide and conquer, and even between like just different family members going with my wife, they split and go to a Tennessee Tech game, and then or I'll go to all, like Jack, the oldest, played at Iowa, so I went out to Iowa with Will, my youngest, and then my wife went to Tennessee Tech to watch Luke play. And so we've had that opportunity and those types of things. Jack ended up being back. He was hurt for a couple of weeks there, so we went to Charleston Southern to see Luke play. So we're, obviously I'm always here on a Friday night, but we jump on a plane or get in a car and just try to do it. It's a great problem to have. I don't complain at all. I can rest when I'm really old, right? So I'm good. It's a great problem to have.
Yeah, it is a funny thing, isn't it? When you're in the midst of it, like you are, you kind of feel like you're going 100 miles an hour. Yeah. I look back, my kids are all grown, and it's funny that it passed so fast, and we were doing a lot of the same thing, running around, and then it just stopped.
Yeah, it's almost like anything like cold turkey, right? Eventually, the oldest is Jack, and he will finish here this fall. He's out of eligibility, so he'll be done, and he's they'll all be Centreville graduates, but it's gone so fast. We went through COVID with him, and then he's the 21 graduate, and then Luke was the 22 graduate. So yeah, it's and he's finishing his junior year, and then he has a senior, but he'll graduate in May. So then it's gone really fast, and even with Will, the youngest.
I bet. Well, congratulations to you and those boys. They're all good kids.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So back to Centerville. How long have you been? What's it been? 5-6 years you've been the head
This is
coach?
my seventh year.
Seventh year. Damn. So yeah, I got to know you over at Westfield as an assistant coach. You were kind of a jack of all trades there. You were a defensive and offensive coordinator at the time. So tell me about your experience there before you became a head coach, like coordinators and.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you ask any defensive coordinator, they think they're an awesome offensive coordinator, right? Because they know everything. And I really feel like the hardest thing to do is a couple of things: is coach quarterbacks and then also call plays. I really do, because defensively, and I was heard different people talk about it, and it is so true that on game day, defensively, it's not that difficult to adjust, meaning because the offenses are doing certain things and that type of stuff. But offensively, you got to kind of figure out, hey, this isn't working. How do we do this? Are we, schooled enough? Do we know enough to run this type of play? How do we do this? How do we adjust? And the formations become a lot of things, personnel, all that stuff really matters. And, But I think if you ask some of the older players and all that type of stuff that still come by or talk to me, they feel like my mentality is still a defensive guy, and that's probably where my heart lies. I flipped, and I always say, talk about drinking the Kool-Aid. When I went back to Virginia Tech, got some funny stories. But Billy Height, who was a longtime assistant with Coach Beamer, was like I was at Fordham at the time, and he's like, Shields, you have 30 seconds to get in the car and answer that, say yes or no to this. I'm like, I don't know. To be the defensive GA, back then you only had 2 GAs, and it was an offensive GA and a defensive GA. And he's like, you got to work with Bud Foster. And I'm like, Coach Foster was an inside linebacker coach when I was a player. And I was like, I don't know. I'm not really a defense. I was coaching tight ends at that time at Fordham. And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, I'm going to hang up the phone and go to the next guy. And I'm like, all right, Coach, I'll be there. And the rest is kind of history. And there is no better coach, no finer coach than Bud Foster. And the staff and those types of guys. And I got to work with Charlie Wiles, who I think, is one of the best D-line coaches, and he's at NC State right now. So I got kind of christened on the defense side and just fell in love with it. So, but long story longer, yes, I did both at Westfield, and then went back in 17 and 18, my last 2 years, to be the defensive coordinator. And then the opportunity at Centreville opened up in, I think, like January, February of 19. And the rest is kind of history there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I could go down a long conversation with you about Bud Foster and Billy Height and all those guys being the tech guy, but I won't do that. We only have so much time here, so we won't go there. What I want to ask you about is the Wildcats this year. They're looking good. Man, I was looking at their scores. They are rolling. They're putting up you guys are putting up some serious points this year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about the squad. Tell us about the squad.
Well, it's a culmination of really taking our lumps in 23. So 2023 it was flipped. We were losing games, and it was done at halftime. In high school, you get a running clock, and it's pretty much what it was. And the young men that are playing now are kind of seeing how hard it was as a 10th grader, but they took their lumps, and so the majority of those kids are playing right now. We have a good junior group and the sophomores. So I mean, and the school actually enrollment is dropping, but the football players I feel like are becoming better players and that type of stuff, and we're getting better players. So it's a culmination of all that. But that's the offensive guys have a lot of experience, and there's enough defensive players too, just not as many as the offense has, as far as starters that have played since they were 10th graders. So,
right. That's impressive.
But that's what you get. You get experience, and there's no there's no such thing as mental reps and doing all this type of stuff. If you play and you're playing in high school, and you're talking about the vast majority of the seniors, if they're playing for us and having success for us, I mean, 10, 20. I mean, they can be anywhere between 20 to 25 high school games right now. That's a lot, for kids.
Yeah.
So not all of them, but you're talking high teens to 20s that.
Right.
As far as games go.
Yeah. And you're kind of in the gauntlet of your schedule right now with these guys, right? I mean, going right through the district, and we know that we spoke with Coach Foster from Westfield last week, and you echoed the same thing beforehand. It's just a gauntlet going through the Concord district up here week after week after week.
It's brutal. There's really good coaches, good players at every level, every team. It's awesome. I know, certain other schools get credit, and they do have really good players, and it's really difficult. But I think everybody and anybody in this area, or certainly the head coaches in the Concord, are biased that it's really hard. It's just tough week in and week out. I mean, you could see about an hour after the game, or even the next on Mondays, the shoulders are still strong because it's just a brutal. I mean, they're just all beat up.
Yeah.
It's a tough place to play. But why would you want to coach anywhere else? You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
In the state of Virginia, as far as it's an awesome conference. And it's on every week. So.
Every week.
Yep.
Yeah. So back to the team. Are the kids feeling good? I mean, what's the attitude these days of high school football players? I mean, are the
when they're not on their phones? They're not
yeah, exactly.
It's that's a great question. But I think the attitude, winning is the cure all. There's just nothing for it. And it does. There's the sayings of it covers up your stink, right? It's like deodorant. Like we still are doing plenty of things wrong, but we're doing plenty of more things right. And then the attitude and your chest puffs out a little bit, and you just, when you're winning, you have that confidence. And I just think that's where we are right now. But it's far from over with 3 weeks left and just trying to survive week to week. But I mean, I think that's their attitude. We don't have any kid different than any other high school has with the distractions and doing different things, but trying to keep them focused day to day. So.
Right. You've done a great job with that program. Got a big game this week, obviously.
Yes.
I might not know so well, but I think over my years in being involved in the high school sports stuff, the Centreville-Westfield football rivalry has always been a really, really good one.
Yeah.
I've been to a lot of the games, and they are super well attended by the local community,
Right.
which I think says a lot for both of the programs. It's kind of a side hustle for what you guys are doing. It brings community together on Friday night, and people come out for these games. So big game on Friday. Tell us about that game. I'm sure people want to know your opinion on that.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, we affectionately call Westfield the other school. We don't really mention it by name.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I won't say that again.
No, it's fine. I'll talk about it like this, but the kids know. But no, it's the neighborhoods have been divided when they built the school in 2000, right? So, and having been on both sides of it, it's an awesome rivalry, and I think we love to play there. They love to play at our it's just a great venue either way, whether you're playing at Centreville or you're playing at Westfield. The atmosphere is awesome, and you get to walk down the hill before the game and then at halftime, and people are right there by the concession stand. So when you go over there, it's a cool place. But the neighborhoods are literally divided, and 29 kind of divides them and that type of stuff. So they grow up through SYA, and that type of stuff. And you really go to three kind of schools pretty much. You go to Centreville, Westwood, or PVI. Some go private school, but that's pretty much. So they've known each other a lot. Chantilly's a big rivalry too, because the schools, when Centreville was built, kind of divided it there. Mm-hmm. But then I don't think the neighborhoods cross paths as much as they do now with Westfield. So because I think if you ask them, they can name pretty much everybody on both sides. Ask Westfield or Centreville kids. Chantilly's a little bit different, but yeah. But they're all everything has become big, right? Like every game is bigger and bigger as each week goes by.
Yeah, especially when you know somebody on the other side.
Sure.
I mean, I don't know if the word personal is the right word, but it is kind of personal. Yeah. You get to know, Johnny from this team, and you're talking smack.
100%. Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
especially for these kids.
It's awesome for them, and if you look, when we become older, we're all like weather dorks and all that stuff. So the weather looks to be awesome. It's just going to be one of those nights where if you're in the area, and you're not doing anything.
Well, especially it gets better when you guys are both winning, or when all of them are winning, right? If you're having, that just makes it
absolutely.
It just makes it exciting. The kids are talking about it. They're checking out all of the, like you say, all the distractions are just. And I don't know how you deal with that now. When we were talking about that with Penn State, they get rid of their coach, and you look at with what you guys do. It's so. You're dealing with teenagers, and you never know what happened yesterday with them, their girlfriend or their buddies, or things happen and even social media now that you have to. There's just no way to get your arms around it. You almost feel like you have to be with them 24/7. You can't.
Yeah, and you can't. It's really tough. I ask them all the time, and all the kids, if you brought them on here, they would. I mean. I call it the devil. I think it's just terrible, and it does affect them. I don't care what they say, because when these Barstool, our school, West, Chantilly, they all have everyone has them, and they make it personal, right? Yeah. So if you did something, you're talking about 5 years ago, and you posted it or whatever, it comes back.
They're keeping receipts.
They keep that's the kids.
That's what they say, right?
Yeah, they keep receipts. So I am not. I like the promotion and all that stuff, but that train has left the station. Like, it's so hard, you can't bring it back. Like, as far as what they say about each other, put out there. But I beg them to, I do, and I'll talk about it again today because of the game and that type of stuff. And, it'll happen the next 2 weeks as well. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, it just keeps going.
What about with your own kids? Is it just as bad in college?
I don't. I feel like high school, and maybe it's just because I'm in the high school side of things, but I don't hear the two older boys ever complain. They don't really complain about the social media side of, them being what they say to the high school, what the high school kids say.
Well, in high school too, you're just all day, 5 days a week in school, in class, with not just the team, but with everybody else. Where I kind of feel like in college, you have your classes, but you kind of hang out with a team.
That's a great point, because in high school, the kids still know you, and they can just send something to you that changes your day.
Yeah.
Because they don't like you or whatever, or they do have a friend at the said high school that thinks you stink, and then they just say stuff like, it never ends. And that's a fair assessment. In college, you're right. They kind of, those guys, it's a business. So you're here, you go here. They don't, you don't have a ton of interaction with the student population in college.
Right. That's interesting. So back to this game. When I think about it, I think about like the kids getting so fired up in the stands, and it's filled up to the top on both Centreville and Westfield's side. Tell me about the Centreville fans this year. The students, they've been doing a good job coming out and supporting you.
I think, and my wife's always the barometer of that, and the cheerleaders and all that type of stuff. But, you do have, it is hard when you're in the moment. You do have to turn around, though, and sometimes, as they say, smell the roses, and you look around. And, the student body, they're awesome. Like, so when they follow us toward the end of the game, like if we're going to score in that end zone or whatever, they go down there.
That's cool.
They even did it last year, playing Chantilly, when we, in overtime, they follow, so it's awesome. So, and Friday night, this past Friday night, we were fortunate to win. So they were down there in like a tunnel, going down. So if where Centreville is on the backside of the stadium, where we go in and out of the locker room, the kids that were left, it was awesome. And our band does a great job. They're loud. They got the guillotine thing. It's a show at Centreville. The community comes out, and it's awesome. Much like, at Westfield, the two schools, and Chantilly. I tell you what, two weeks ago we played at Chantilly in the homecoming. Awesome crowd for Sean and those guys. It was that you could see, because you're now looking at it.
Oh yeah, you look out.
There was a timeout at one point, and obviously we're on our headsets, and I'm like, man, so it's an awesome event tonight, and Chantilly was packed. They had a thing going on in the tennis court, When the schools are playing and the schools are winning, there's nothing better in this area.
Yeah.
So it's a big deal. Friday night will be a big deal.
It'll be a good game, I'm sure. It always is. It's just the hype and everything around it. So wish you luck in that game.
Appreciate it.
For sure. So I think we want to do a trivia question for good old Coach Shields here, right? Before we wrap
I
up.
thought that was a good idea, especially having, an expert as opposed to the two of us, trying to answer these questions. So. But you give us your best shot, Scotty. We'll see what we can do.
Was told I need to do this trivia question when I came in the door here. So I took about 3 minutes and looked this up on my phone, trying to think of something that was specific to Coach Shields. I thought maybe Virginia Tech, because he is a former Virginia Tech Hokie, both player and coach. But I decided to go the Virginia high school football route with this question. So we can all chime in on this one. So since 1970, so I know high school football has been played a lot longer than that in the state of Virginia, but that's what this source had. Since 1970, Virginia high school football state championships in Division 5 or 6, which was also Division 3 before that split into Division 5, 6. What high school has the most state championships in football during that time period? So that's 54 years, right? So
it's interesting. Didn't Chantilly High School come into being in 1970? I think it was 70, right about there. So they would be the oldest in the group.
Yeah.
Which would, if they were good, they would have a shot at being the most victories. But
I'll tell you, that's not them.
They have a state championship, though.
But they don't have as many as the winner.
All those guys, they had good players.
Oh, yeah.
Do you have any guess?
Me?
Okay.
Am I going?
Go for it.
Hampton Crabbers.
That is correct. That is correct. Yes.
God, I'm so glad it didn't get to me because I would have been way off.
something else first, but that's correct. They have 12 since then.
Wow, that's crazy.
Did a great
Well,
job.
well done. Yeah, man. We wish you luck this week.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Hope everybody can come out, watch the game. It's going to be a good time, whichever side you're rooting for. We got 2 good coaches in this game, a lot of good players playing. So come on out and cheer on your favorite team. We appreciate you coming on, Coach Shields.
absolutely.
Always good to see you.
Absolutely.